You know what's weird? Sometimes the people who take advantage of us don't look like bad people at all. They might actually seem kind, charming, funny. Maybe they call you all the time. Maybe they say they love you. Maybe they even make you feel important. And that's why it's hard to notice. Because when someone is using you emotionally, financially, mentally, or even socially, it usually happens slowly, not all at once. And one day you wake up exhausted, confused, resentful, and wondering why you feel drained every time you talk to this person. If you've ever had that feeling, this video is for you. Okay, so before we get into this, I want to say something important. Being a caring person is not weakness. Helping people is not weakness. Loving people deeply is not weakness. The problem starts when someone learns that you'll keep giving, even when they keep taking. And honestly, a lot of good-hearted people don't realize it's happening until they're emotionally burned out. I've been there. A lot of people have. So let's talk about the signs. Not the dramatic movie version signs. The subtle ones, the realistic ones. The ones that creep into real friendships, relationships, family situations, and even workplaces. Sign number 1, they only show up when they need something. You ever notice how some people magically appear when they need help? Like, they disappear for days, maybe weeks. No check-ins, no how are you, no effort. But the second they need money, advice, favors, emotional support, a ride somewhere, help moving, help with work, suddenly your phone lights up. And at first you tell yourself, oh, they're probably just busy. Which is fair. People are busy. But over time, patterns tell the truth. A healthy relationship has balance. Not perfect balance every single day, but mutual effort. If somebody only remembers you when they need something, you're not being treated like a person. You're being treated like a resource. And that realization hurts, especially when you genuinely care about them. For sign number 2, you feel guilty saying no. This one is huge. Pay attention to how someone reacts when you set a boundary. Because emotionally healthy people might feel disappointed sometimes, but they still respect your limits. Manipulative people, they punish your boundaries. Maybe they guilt trip you. Maybe they say things like, oh wow, I guess I can't count on you. Or, after everything I've done for you? Or the classic, fine, don't worry about it. And suddenly you feel like the bad guy for having normal limits. That's not healthy communication. That's emotional pressure. And eventually you start saying yes to things you don't want to do, just to avoid feeling guilty. That's one of the biggest signs someone may be taking advantage of your kindness. Sign number 3, your problems never matter as much as theirs. Have you ever listened to someone for hours? You support them through breakups, stress, family drama, work problems, anxiety, everything. But the moment you need support, the conversation somehow shifts right back to them. You could be talking about the hardest week of your life and somehow they're like, yeah, but honestly my week was worse. Or they barely listen, or they seem distracted, or they suddenly have to go. That imbalance matters. Because relationships aren't supposed to feel emotionally one-sided all the time. You shouldn't constantly feel like the unpaid therapist in somebody else's life, while your own emotional needs get ignored. And the sad part is, people who are givers often normalize this. They become so used to carrying everybody emotionally that they stop asking themselves, wait, who's carrying me? Sign number 4, they make you feel responsible for their life. This is where things can get really emotionally draining. Some people slowly make you feel responsible for their happiness, their problems, their choices, even their future. And if you pull back even a little, they make you feel selfish. Now listen carefully. Supporting someone is healthy. Being emotionally trapped is not. You are not supposed to carry another adult human being entirely on your shoulders. And sometimes manipulators don't do this aggressively. Sometimes they do it subtly. They constantly have crises, constant emergencies, constant problems only you can solve. And after a while, you feel emotionally chained to them. Like if you stop helping, everything will collapse. That pressure is exhausting. Sign number 5, they don't respect your time. This one gets overlooked a lot. People who take advantage of others often act entitled to their time. They expect immediate replies. They interrupt your schedule. They cancel on you repeatedly but expect you to always be available for them. And somehow your time is treated as less important than theirs. Now obviously nobody's perfect. Life happens. But consistent disrespect is different. If somebody constantly wastes your energy, ignores your boundaries, and expects unlimited access to you, they may not value you as much as they value what you provide. That's an important distinction. Sign number 6, you feel drained after interacting with them. This is one of the biggest emotional clues. Your body notices unhealthy dynamics before your mind fully accepts them. Pay attention to how you feel after talking to someone. Do you feel peaceful, supported, understood, or do you feel anxious and exhausted, emotionally heavy? Sometimes people who take advantage of you create relationships where you're always emotionally on duty. You're constantly managing their emotions, trying not to upset them, trying to fix things. trying to rescue them. And eventually the relationship starts feeling like work instead of connection. Sign number 7. They rarely appreciate you unless they need you. Not strategic. Some people only compliment you when they want something. They suddenly become extra nice before asking for favors, extra affectionate before needing help, extra emotional before requesting money, time, or attention. And once they get what they want, the energy changes. That inconsistency can leave you emotionally confused because you keep chasing the good version of them. But healthy people don't only value you when you're useful, they value you because you matter to them. Big difference. Sign number 8. They make everything feel transactional. You know those people who keep score constantly? Like every favor becomes emotional debt. Every nice thing they do gets brought up later. That's manipulation disguised as generosity. Healthy relationships don't operate like contracts 24/7. Of course, effort should go both ways, but genuine care doesn't sound like, "Remember what I did for you?" People who weaponize favors often use them to control you later, and sometimes that control becomes emotional leverage, especially in toxic relationships. Sign number 9. You're afraid to disappoint them. This one hits deep. If you constantly feel anxious about upsetting someone, disappointing them, or making them angry, ask yourself why. Healthy relationships allow room for honesty, for boundaries, for individuality. But manipulative people often train others to avoid conflict at all costs. Maybe they explode emotionally. Maybe they withdraw affection. Maybe they become cold. Maybe they play the victim. So eventually you start overextending yourself just to keep the peace. That's not connection. That's emotional survival mode. Sign number 10, deep down. You already know. This is probably the hardest part. A lot of people recognize the signs long before they admit them, but they keep explaining the behavior away because they love the person, because they feel guilty, because they hope things will change, because they don't want to seem dramatic. And honestly, because accepting the truth can be painful, especially if the person is someone close to you. But your intuition matters. If something consistently feels off, draining, unfair, or emotionally unhealthy, don't silence yourself just because the other person isn't evil. Some people are not malicious. They're just emotionally immature, selfish, dependent, or unaware. But regardless of the reason, the impact on you still matters. So what should you do? Okay, so let's talk about the difficult part. What do you actually do if you realize someone is taking advantage of you? First, stop ignoring your discomfort. Your feelings are not random. Second, start setting small boundaries, not dramatic ultimatums, just small boundaries. Say no sometimes. Delay responding. Protect your time. Notice how they react when they no longer have unlimited access to your energy. That reaction tells you a lot. Third, stop over-explaining yourself. You do not need a courtroom presentation every time you protect your peace. "No, I can't today" is a complete sentence. And finally, pay attention to reciprocity. Healthy relationships feel mutual, not perfect. Not 50-50 every second, but mutual overall. You feel seen, respected, considered, safe, not constantly drained. At the end of the day, people who care about you should not consistently leave you feeling used. And one of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that being needed is not the same as being valued. Some people love what you do for them, but real relationships are built on care, respect, honesty, and mutual effort. Not guilt, not obligation, not emotional exhaustion. So if this video made you think of someone, don't panic. Just start paying attention to patterns instead of excuses. That changes everything. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever realized too late that someone was taking advantage of you? What were the signs? Drop your experiences in the comments. Somebody reading them might genuinely need that advice. And if this video helped you even a little, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.